Today we're going to double check the front end. We're going to measure the sway bar and we're going to change this shock tower from the T6.1 to the T6.2. We're going to remove the ball studs because they're in the way of the front screws to hold the shock tower on. Just be careful to not lose your ball stud washers or get them mixed up. So we'll lay those out of the way, and then we're going to take the shock tower off using the gun. Once again, it takes a 7mm wrench to hold the standoff. So you take the 5.5 nut off. So there's the old tower for flat arms off the T6. And here is the new gull wing front tower. So I am going to reference the setup sheet. I believe we'll reference the setup sheet, and yes, they go in the center on the front tower as well. So we're good to go there. Okay, and then like I said, you have to make sure there is a front and back to the shock tower because the lower holes are countersunk for the screws that go into the bulkhead. So make sure that when you put the shock standoffs on, you have them facing inward, and then that way when you put the body mounts on, they're facing outward. So we got our body mounts in the tower, and we just have to put the screws in. I've talked a lot about the type of fasteners. The silver-headed screws in this build are actually titanium. Titanium's okay. It's nice. It's expensive, but I'm not a big fan. I wouldn't, like my own personal cars that I build from new. I very rarely do I use anything titanium for them. I like the titanium turnbuckles, but I don't care for the screws. I especially don't care for the stainless steel screws. They have really soft hexes. The shock tower's back on. Actually, I should have checked this before I put the tower back on, but the setup sheet calls for a 1.3 sway bar. Oh, and luckily we have a 1.3 sway bar. So we're good there. I do want to check the inner camber link locations and the ball stud washers. I'm pretty sure Krista's already changed those, but so it goes on the inner hole, and it takes a 2mm spacer, and it's going on the inner hole. Okay, and these are 2mm spacers, so yeah, everything's right there. We're just gonna go ahead and put a little dab of our Zap Z42 Loctite on these ball studs before we put them in. Put the washers on. And again, it goes in the inner hole. Now, I didn't notice this taking it out, but I do notice it putting it in. The body mount is sort of in the way, so I'm going to switch to my 2.0 ball end so as to not cross thread that ball stud when I start it. Once it's in there, we're gonna wait until we get the shocks done, which is gonna be next. Once we get the shocks done, then we'll go ahead and put wheels and tires on the truck and sit it down, and we'll get the camber gauge out, and we'll start setting camber and adjusting toe in, and then we'll work on ride height and some of the fine adjustment type stuff. So that'll be it for this one, and I'll see you back for shock building 101.